I'm so interested in wisdom. It's interesting that scientists don't all agree about what wisdom is, but here's a few of the definitions of wisdom that I think ascending the staircase reflects. The ability to step outside ourselves and assess troublesome situations with calm reflection. That's really hard to do when you're younger. You know, almost nothing stresses me anymore. Well, I have a daughter. You know, you're only as happy as your least happy child, and there's certain children that can really set you up. But you know something? When it happens, this is the daughter who, when I was trying to research myself and make a little video of my life, when I was approaching 60, she said, and she makes documentary films, I said, well, Vanessa, will you help me with it? And she said, why don't you just get a chameleon and let it crawl across the screen? But anyway, even now, you know, she doesn't really stress me. It doesn't stick. I can step outside and not let it stick. Another part of wisdom is the ability to regulate our emotions. Another one that I love is the ability, the willingness to embrace uncertainty. You know, because as you begin to approach the end, you realize we can't be certain of anything. And you know what? That's fine. You also find that you begin to have less ego stake in the outcome of things. You know, I mean, I hope and pray and work hard, and I'm an activist, and I do all I can to save the planet. It may not happen. And I you know, it's like if a particular effort that I'm engaged in doesn't work out, I don't stress and fret about it. I don't have an ego outcome in it. It's really good if you're in the entertainment business to not have an ego stake in the outcome of things. But it means they have to get older, and then they're probably not working anyway. Anyway. Oh yeah, William James said, the start of being wise, the art of being wise is the art of knowing what to overlook. You know, someone does you a slight, or someone, Okay, I'm going to skip all this. Skip all that. Oh yeah, here's another thing that I kind of knew experientially, but I was so interested in this. I mean, I write about exercise and food and all those kind of things, but I'm going to talk more about the other kinds of things. It turns out when you're older, it's easier to have an intimate relationship. Carl Jung, the psychologist, said that this partly has to do with our greater ability to achieve individuation. That means to be able to maintain healthy boundaries and not lose oneself while being in emotionally and physically intimate relationships. This is a problem that a lot of women know about. You know, you go into a relationship and you lose yourself in it. I mean, I've been married 3 times, and I did it in all. I mean, it's like I finally learned. You keep your boundaries. You know, before, when you're younger, you fall in love. What's wrong with that sentence? Fall in love. No, real love and intimacy happens when you're standing on your own 2 feet as an individual who owns her space. I mean, how many of you ever saw Woody Allen's film Zelig? Zelig he was hysterical. Woody Allen would literally become whoever he was with. I'm probably the only person in the world that thought it was based on a true story. preposterous to me because I mean my daughter wasn't entirely wrong. I have a very chameleon thing, but I'm standing on my own 2 feet as a whole, authentic person. You can't have intimacy if you don't really like yourself. I mean, a lot of us, I'm talking to the women now, but it's good for the men to understand that. I wish I had more time because I'd love to talk to what happens to men. I have such compassion. It's so much harder for men. We have to have real compassion for our men friends. Changing and aging is harder for men than it is for women. When women approach puberty, the girl that used to be, oh yeah, why? Who says? How come? You're not the boss of me. I'm on a double cheese pepperoni pizza. She becomes the, oh, I don't know what I want. I have what you're having. Or I'm not sure. Her voice goes underground so that she will fit in and be popular. And she leaves all the parts of her that she thinks aren't perfect out. It's like you move outside of yourself and take up residence next door. And that doesn't just go away for a lot of women. I mean, it took me 62 years, okay? It's hard to be intimate when you're living next door to yourself. You have to move back inside and become embodied, because intimacy requires self-revelation. And that's why it's important to be in our own bodies and skins, standing on our own 2 feet in order to reveal ourselves. If we think ourselves are yucky, it's hard to reveal ourselves. Oh, there's just so much to say. Oh, here's another thing. Why very often relationships get better when you're older. You see, after menopause, women's estrogen drops in relation to testosterone. Okay, estrogen is the feel-good, oh honey, what can I do for you? Make peace kind of hormone. And we know what testosterone is, okay? So women are going like this. Men are going like this. Their testosterone is dropping in relation to their estrogen. So you may have noticed, I mean, it's easy to know in Hollywood because you have 70-year-old men who've married 30-year-old women and have 12-year-old kids, and they're fabulous fathers. It's because the estrogen is way up here. And so men can become great-grandfathers when they weren't such good fathers because of that change in the balance. And as a result, there's a kind of an androgenization that happens where women and men become more alike. So this is very hopeful. This is a very good thing. Look, I am shacked up with somebody. I came to LA to get a new knee and ended up getting a new lover. And I was in Atlanta for 20 years, and I have a lot of big closet, a lot of art, a lot of furniture, all that stuff. And now I'm shacked up with this guy in his house with none of my stuff. And I'm kind of proud of myself. And I can apply all the things I've learned about how to have a relationship, and it's really, really nice. Anyway, this book is really weird. The first person that called me to interview me about the book, she's the first person outside of the Random House family that read the book, and she said, I've never quite read a book like this that goes from physics to penile implants. You see, while we're talking about couples, there's a lot of books about aging, but they never include what do you do when you can't get a hard-on? And are older people supposed to be having sex? And how, all kinds of changes happen to our bodies, and nobody tells us what are we supposed to do about it. And so I went and wrote a lot about it. There's one chapter called The Lowdown on Getting It Up in the Third Act. And it's so funny because men who read the book, that's what they love. They love the part about sex and the exercise. The women love, the other stuff and the sex. But anyway, let me just I'm going to get to Q&A in a second. I'm just trying to... Oh yeah. This is interesting. One of the key things to having a successful older age is called, I love this word, generativity. It was a term coined by Erik Erikson, the famous psychologist. And it means giving back to the younger generations. It means mentoring, it means coaching, it means caring. I think one of the reasons I feel so good is because I've spent much time working, trying to make the lives of younger, poor, low-income people better. Katharine Hepburn was a great example of this. She took her elderhood seriously. She took me and my friend Michael Jackson, who came and visited me on the set on Golden Pond, under her arm and taught us things. And she was a really great example of generativity. Interesting thing, again, this is a scientific study they did. It shows that women who engage in generativity have a higher rate of orgasm. That's one I don't get, but the scientists proved it, so. Oh gosh. The other thing is ageism. Especially now when we're in such economic troubles, people need to know that seniors are not a drag on the economy of the United States. Boomers and seniors save the government trillions of dollars because we volunteer. We care for our parents. We care for other people. We volunteer and we do things that normally people would be paid for. We have spawned whole new industries in the house, safe housing and robotics and all these kinds of things. All the corporations that keep older people on the job, maybe with flex work time and in different situations, but keep them there so they can train young workers, all of them have a better bottom line. Do you know what I mean? So, there's a lot of young people here, but those of us who are no longer young, we have to understand that we are not greedy geezers, that we make a huge contribution to this country, and we have to work together to force our society to respect us and honor our needs. We've got the numbers, we've got the health, we've got those 34 more years added to our lives, so we can turn this whole thing on the end. I'm going to stop because I really want to take your question.